Um, the title of my message might not make sense just by hearing it, but I titled it Second First, and I'll get to why it's called that here in a minute. But I love listening to kids talk, especially when they don't know you're listening. We little tiny kids, as the saying goes, kids say the darndest things, and they really do. If they don't know that you're paying attention, yeah, they'll say some of the darndest things. But our nieces, Amber's brothers, the twins, and the younger one, was playing one day, and I heard them say, "My turn, my turn." I wasn't paying that close attention to know what they were playing, what she needed a turn at, but she wanted her turn. She wanted a chance to come in second first. She wanted to be the second one to come in first. And they're all just like, yeah, okay, you go. So she would take her turn. She would come in first also, and they would cheer, and like she came in first place. She was the second first, not the first, not second place. She was the second first, and that's how they said it. I want my turn. I want to come in second first. To me, I just really liked it. Nobody loses when everyone gets to come in first. Even if you're second first, you didn't lose. They seem to not care whether they were first, second, or even third to come in first. In their minds, they all came in first. I never heard them say third first. It was just always second first. I don't know if anybody ever even actually came in first. It was just always second first. Cool. You know how it is. Most kids, even adults, most people would be kind of like, well, I still came in first because I actually came in first. People, after a while, they're like, yeah, but I still won. We'll give you your props. You came in second first or whatever, but I still won. Are any of you competitive in that way, that you have to win? Does everything in your life become a chance to be first? Do you know anybody like that, at least, to where no matter what's going on, they got to be the first one done doing everything? Yeah, I was first. There's a lot of people that are like that. I am not like that at all. I don't care if I really win at anything. I honestly get more joy out of seeing someone else be happy over winning than I care to win myself. Now, I wasn't this way when I was younger. Me and my brother would really go at it sometimes. He was 3 years older than me, so he couldn't lose to his younger brother. But he was 3 years older than me, so I fought hard to beat my older brother. And so, yeah, we were always... But yeah, nowadays, I really don't care if I come in first at all. I was with a group of friends one time, and we were playing cards. I'm not a card player, so I don't even remember the name of the cards, but the spades. I think that's the name of it, spades. Does anybody play cards? Do they know? But anyhow, it was just a card game we were playing together, and they were teaching me, but for some reason I was good at it. And they were kind of making fun of another friend of ours because he had been playing for a while and was losing. So I purposely started losing so that he could look good. Just because I don't care if I win. I don't care if I get heckled. I don't care if you call me a loser. I don't care. But I didn't like seeing him feel bad because he was losing. It's amazing what people will put themselves through to get to be the one to come in first place or to get to be the winner. Athletes practice till they bleed, or worse, they just practice just for bragging rights. Dr. K. Andres Erickson of Florida State University, as well as other researchers, have found that it takes around 10 years or 10,000 hours of practice to reach the top of ultra competitiveness. And they went on to list like music and golf and any kind of performance or chess. It takes years to become the top of your field or your game. And yet people will put themselves through a lot just to come in first. People who want to win this badly don't think like our nieces do. They don't think you can be first once and then it's someone else's turn. They want to be first all the time. They want to be the winner every time. And with the Olympics coming up, there's a kid from Dover High School that is going to be on the Olympic swim team. Now it'd be nice I'd like see America win at the Olympics and everything, and yeah, the next Olympics, they're going to want to go back and win again. So I get it. You want to see your state, your school, your country win, and like the Browns, I don't want them to lose ever. They have lost enough. They don't need to. You don't have to be the best at losing, which they have become. I understand. I'm not up here just saying that you shouldn't reach to win. I understand, but anyhow, my message today is about Jacob. The desire to be first goes back a long way. Take Jacob and Esau, for example. The battling began in the womb. I have Genesis 25, 22, and 23. Now I usually, it is here. I go through and I put my scripture in so I don't have to, look through my Bible a lot, but I didn't this week. So I got to turn to it, but my bookmark was close. Genesis 25, 22, and 23. Isaac prayed to the Lord on behalf of his wife because she was childless. That's wrong. Here it is, okay. The babies jostled each other within her, and she said, "Why is this happening to me?" So she went to inquire of the Lord. The Lord said to her, 2 nations are in your womb, and 2 people from within you will be separated. One people will be stronger than the other, and the older will serve the younger. They were battling inside her even before they were born. Last week I said I wanted to spend more time on Jacob. This week I want to talk about Jacob and how we can relate to him. How are we like Jacob? I think that we, all of us, in some way or another, have Jacob tendencies. We all, even myself with my never caring who wins attitude, we all want to be appreciated for something. Even if you don't want to be a winner, even if you don't care if you win, there's still something you want to be appreciated at. These 2 brothers were fighting even in the womb, and I imagine they didn't even know why. Sometimes we do that too. We don't even know why we want to win. We don't even know why we want to come in first, but we just want to. We don't even know what for. God says that the 2 nations are in her womb and that the older will serve the younger. That'll really be important later. I just wanted to say that. If they knew what God had intended for them, neither would have wanted to be first. The first one to come out, since the older would serve the younger. Even so, they battled even through their birth. God was going to make the younger over the older, but they were still fighting to be the first one to come out. Now Genesis 25, 26, and 27. I probably should have just left this open. Genesis 25, 26 and 27. Oh no, that's what I just said. Genesis 25. I'm just going to read it off my scripture. I was third. Anyhow, the first to come out was red, and his whole body was like a hairy garment. So they named him Esau. After this, his brother came out, with his hand grasping Esau's heel. So he was named Jacob. In the womb they were fighting, and then on the way out they were fighting. He was holding his heel, as if to be like, me first, me first. Even while their mother was giving birth, Jacob was pulling at his brother's heel. And it doesn't even stop there. Genesis 25, 29 through 23. Once when Jacob was cooking some stew, Esau came in from the open country, famished. He said to Jacob, "Quick, let me have some of the red stew. I am famished." Jacob replied, "First sell me your birthright." "Look, I am about to die," Esau said. "What good is the birthright to me?" But Jacob said, "Swear it to me first." So he swore an oath to him, selling his birthright to Jacob. Now what kind of brother would refuse food to his famished brother? What kind of brother would bargain over birthrights while his brother is begging for food? You would just want to help your brother. Now, I'm trying to point out that Jacob was not a nice person. Was not a nice person to do this kind of thing to his brother. This quite possibly could have been the beginning of the rat race. We all know how hard it is to get ahead. This could have been the beginning of throwing your brother under the bus to get ahead in life. I really don't know if that is or not, but this is kind of what we do. To get ahead, we will do some pretty rotten things to people. This seems like a harsh thing to do, but this is really how the world works. There are a lot of people in the world that think only about getting ahead in life, no matter how it may affect another person, even your own brother, even a brother or sister in Christ. You will do a lot of things to throw somebody under the bus. But listen to this even further, and you'll see that the rat race can be even more troubling. Genesis 27:35 through 38. But he said, "Your brother came deceitfully and took your blessing," Esau said. Isn't he rightly named Jacob? This is the second time he has taken advantage of me. He took my birthright, and now he's taking my blessing. Then he asked, "Haven't you reserved any blessing for me?" Isaac answered Esau, "I have made him the Lord over you, and have made all of his relatives his servants. And I have sustained him with grain and new wine. So what can I possibly do for you, my son?" Esau said to his father, "You have only one blessing, my father. Bless me too, my father." Then Esau wept out loud. Now, to give you a little bit of background of really what's going on here, when it became time for Esau to be blessed, his father Isaac was losing his eyesight, and he knew he was getting old, and he needed to bless his oldest son. Well, the mother, Rebekah, overheard Isaac tell Esau to go out into the field and get him some meat to eat. He wanted something to eat. And so while he was out, the mother told Jacob, "Hey, your father's going to bless your brother. This is what we need to do." So they conspired to dress him up like Esau, make him smell like Esau, so that he could steal his blessing. He stole it, he bargained for his birthright, and now he wanted to steal his blessing. And he did. He accomplished it. He got his blessing. He tried very hard to deceive everybody just to be firstborn, just to be first, just to be the older son so that he could get the blessing and the birthright. Isn't it amazing what we'll go through to take from your own family? I'm not just talking about our actual biological brothers and sisters, but also our brothers and sisters in Christ. We will do, not always. I'm just trying to prove a point, really. We don't always take advantage of people, but we have to agree we've seen it happen. From the very beginning, from the womb, God had a plan for these two brothers. God already knew who would be the older brother and who would be the younger, and what they would accomplish. You can't steal from God. You can't bargain for something that if he's got something planned in one way, you can't bargain to change it. You can't even bargain with Satan for something to be changed. And just a side note, they were fighting in the womb, and God had dealt with them in the womb. God was dealing with what was going on while they were in the womb. And I just wanted to say, this means while in the womb, God is treating us like a living person we already are. In the womb, we are a living person. I wasn't going to explain much further, but I hope you get that abortion, you are killing a living person. In the womb, God will deal with you. In the womb, God was working out their lives in the womb. I'll just leave it there. Jacob was constantly fighting to take whatever he could from his brother. No matter how hard you try, you can't make yourself the firstborn if you came out second. I'm sorry to say that there is no second first when it comes to being the firstborn, even if you're a twin. Twins can't come out at the exact same time. I'm sure women are very glad about that. But yeah, there's no second first in birth. How deceitful and just plain rotten someone must be to do this kind of thing to his brother. But we all do things sometimes to get ahead or get something to go our way. We don't always think about who it may hurt in the long run. Why do we all do things like this to each other? Even as kids sometimes. I like candy. I'm 51 years old and I love sweets. When I was young, we would get candy and I would just eat it all up. Eat it up right away. My brother would hide his, and I would steal it every time I could find it. I would steal from my own brother. And, as kids, like, it's just candy, You were just a kid, but that's the mentality of people. If you want something, you take it. My poor brother, I should probably buy him a bag of candy or something. There is a very important matter I have yet to talk about. I touched on this last week, and it's really the point I want to prove today. God used Jacob to birth a nation. Jacob ran from the trouble he had created for himself. Have you ever done that? You ever ran from a situation? Do you know anyone like this? Someone that has created so much trouble for themselves that they end up running from their life. This is what Jacob did. He had created enough trouble for himself that it was time to get out of town. Jacob ended up creating a whole new life for himself. God helped him succeed in life. Jacob did very well in his new life away from the family he ran from. When Jacob decided to go home, he ran into a situation with God on the way. He ended up in an actual physical wrestling match with God. Jacob wrestled with God. Have you ever wrestled with God? Do you ever have a situation you remember when you had to actually confront God on something, or God confronted you on something? Has there ever been something you were doing or wanted to do, but something inside of you was saying no? No, you shouldn't do this, or you shouldn't be doing that. But you wanted to. You wanted to do it anyways. But you still feel as though you shouldn't. Back and forth inside of you. You want to do it, you know you shouldn't. You want to do it, you know you shouldn't. This is a form of wrestling with God. Jacob physically wrestled with God, but we all will wrestle it sometimes over a decision or something. And God might be telling you no, but you want to do it anyways. Just like Jacob, we have our moments that we do things that we shouldn't, and we end up wrestling with God. Now this is a big if. If you're willing to listen to God, things start to work out in the midst of a struggle. If you're willing to listen to God, things can be worked out. It takes two to wrestle, though. You can't. People say sometimes they were wrestling with themselves as a figure of speech or whatever. But it takes two to wrestle. God is willing. He is willing to wrestle with you. But are you willing to wrestle with God? My meaning there is, are you willing to listen to God? God is willing to be in a conversation with you, but are you willing to be in a conversation with Him? How crappy of a person have you been in life? Have you ever done something that you shouldn't have done? How crappy have you been? How low can a person get before God stops giving them a chance to wrestle with Him? Is there a point that's too low? Is a murderer too low? Will God wrestle with a murderer? Or how about a thief? Is a thief too low to wrestle with God. An idolater. Most people have at least, there's just that one thing that they struggle with forgiving. There's something, maybe something got stolen from them. Their favorite car, the 1984 Monte Carlo maybe, was stolen from them. And so they have trouble with thieves. They just can't get over a thief or any situation like that. And so something happens to you to where inside of you you think, that's my thing. I can't forgive that. God forgives all. And we have all, whatever you can think of, whatever sin you can think of, we've all done that to God. And He forgives all. If you're willing to come to Him, He's willing to come to you. He's willing to listen. God changed Jacob's name to Israel, and a nation of God's chosen people was created. I tried to create a situation, I tried to talk about it in a way to where you could see just how low Jacob had got, and God still used him to create a nation. Jacob tried over and over again to make himself the firstborn. Even while coming out of his mother's womb, he was holding on to his brother's heel as if he was fighting to be the first out. You can try and try and try to take what isn't yours. You can fight to be first, but the best way to succeed is to do the will of God, even if that sometimes means you're first second instead of actually first. You can live life not knowing God, not willing to wrestle or talk things over with Him, and it may seem as though you have succeeded in life. There's plenty of people that don't believe in Jesus that have succeeded in life. They have all they want. Plenty of people that are living high on the hog, as they say, and they feel like they've really succeeded in life. But how happy can you be while living in eternity in hell? You may succeed here in life, but we need to succeed in eternity. Succeeding here on earth doesn't necessarily mean you won't end up in hell. Let me tell you this, no matter how rotten you've been or how guilty you feel, God can make a new life for you if you just allow yourself to listen to Him. No matter how, just like I said, no matter how low you feel, God can help you succeed. Dale Earnhardt, now I hope I get this story right, but Dale Earnhardt was a very well-known and talented NASCAR driver. He tried for years to win the race of all races for a NASCAR driver. He wanted to win the Daytona 500. He had won a lot of, he was very good at what he did, but he just couldn't win the race that all NASCAR drivers want to win. Finally, he achieved his goal and he won that race. It was either the next year or the year after that. I don't remember. It could even have been 3 years. I know it was shortly after that he was trying to hold back the other drivers so that Michael Waltrip could get his victory in the Daytona 500. He was, driving in front of the other cars, not letting them pass so that, they couldn't get around him, then they couldn't get around the people in front of him. So he was just trying to hold the other drivers back. But Dale Earnhardt lost his life in that race. He gave his life so that someone else could come in first place. That's kind of the behavior that we should have, the attitude we should have. Maybe not to death, but, help someone else get their chance to be first. Not all people are satisfied with winning a race just once. They want to come in first every time. Dale Earnhardt was willing to share first place. We should all be willing to share first place, Second first. I like that saying. I just like saying it, second first. I hear it in my head, them playing second first. The best part of my nieces playing this way is the joy and the excitement that they felt when their sisters got to come in second first, as if they just won and actually came in first. Second first doesn't matter if you don't have the joy of someone else getting to be first. It's a shame that life really can't be this way. The reality of life is that there will be a second place, and there will be a third place, so on and so forth. There is no second first. Could you imagine at the Olympics, let's do it again. The next person, yeah, second first, another gold. They just can't give golds out to everybody. Isn't it great to know that even with God, there is no second first? With God, there is only first. There is no second place with God. With God, we all are in first. With God, He chooses us all individually as first for Him. Just like God used Jacob, He can use you to do great things also, no matter what you've done in life. But just like Jacob had to wrestle with God, you also need to work something. You also may need to work some things out with God. It worked out for Jacob because he was willing to have that wrestling match. He was willing to have that conversation. We all need to be willing to have those conversations with God. God is willing to have this conversation with you, but are you willing to have it with Him?